Welcome to the next lesson in Invading the Future. So, we've covered planning invasions, executing invasions, and being able to think about leading and lagging indicators of whether these invasions of the future are successful and how we're progressing in terms of desirable, feasible, and viable. But what happens when we complete an innovation, an invasion of the future? Well, we undertake the next one. So this doesn't ever stop. And what we want to be doing is getting better at executing these invasions of the future. Every single invasion of the future, we must be better than the one has been before. And we have this future invasion force. Okay, how can our future invasion force become more effective? We have an innovation factory. It's one way to think about it. It is a kind of a factory, but it doesn't execute just recipes. It is solving problems. So our organizations of the future currently, and certainly all organizations of the future, will be problem-solving factories. And that is what we need to become better and better and better at doing. Now, in all of these innovation factories, these organizations with their knowledge workers invading the future, we have a combination of non-standard work as well as standard work. So the non-standard work is we're solving problems we've never solved before. But the standard work components is, how do we prioritize and how good are we at prioritizing? How do we communicate information? How do we structure ourselves? And so there's a lot of standard work that is involved. We make changes to the platform live maybe every day. We improve our platform maybe every day. We maybe have to roll back some issue that we introduce into our platform every day. So there's elements of standard work involved in much of what we do, but also elements of non-standard work. The way to think of this is we have an innovation system. And I call the one aspect of doing the work the content. These are the problems that we're solving. And there are people in the organization whose main focus is selecting and leading the invasion of these futures, these specific problems to solve. These are content people. We are taking the content, which is our problems to solve, and driving them through and leading the solving of these problems in our innovation system, together with our knowledge workers. Okay, so these are people working within an existing innovation system. Then there are the folks that focus more on the aspects of standard work. Process, our weapons, our skills, our tools, our techniques, and how do we communicate. And this is about our innovation system. There need to be people focused on how good is our innovation system and improving our innovation system over time. And what we're finding is in the past, you had sort of like line management trying to do both functions, trying to figure out what people must do, and then also trying to somehow lead improvement of the system and so forth. This is separating in organizations. We're having many folks who are focused on content, typically product management. Okay, so my goal is to lead this organization and the parts of an organization that are involved in successfully invading this future. Not all these people that are part of the invasion necessarily report to me. And then there's not necessarily a direct line reporting to me, but I'm the person who is leading the invasion of this specific future. Then there are line managers who various people inside this innovation system are reporting to together. But they may not be leading these invasions of the future. They are looking at a certain capability, a certain function in the organization, and their goal is to continuously improve that capability and function as a part of a larger invasion force. And how this works in terms of our iterative approach to invading the future, in the same way that we are thinking about, are we achieving the problem statement as we're progressing through desirable, feasible, and viable. Every 2 weeks, we have a discussion about, we reflect on our progress. how is it going? Is it still feasible? Is it still going to be viable? Are we okay? And then whatever we've learned in the past 2 weeks, the latest experiment we've done, the latest battle we've just fought, we compare notes and say, does this thing make sense? Are we still on track? Is it still feasible? Is it still viable? And we adapt to learning and adapt our plan as we progress. And this is about the content side, this specific invasion of the future. How is that progressing, and should we pivot, adapt, or whatever we should be doing? And hopefully we come out the other side successfully having invaded this future, solving this problem statement for customers. And at certain points, teams give feedback to higher level product management. So there may be different teams giving feedback about where what they've achieved every 2 weeks, but that feedback also goes up to higher levels of product management, which are in charge of the full invasion. And if one team finds something that is meaning their portion is now not feasible or viable anymore, they will have to raise the alarm to say, everyone, please be aware, product management, leaders of our invasion, be aware that our part of this invasion is turning into a problem. We need to do something about it, need to discuss, either stop, pivot, or whatever the case may be. Okay, so this feedback goes up to your different levels of product management, leaders of these different invasions of the future. Now, in the same way that we reflect and critique upon, are we able to invade the specific future, we also talk about our way of work. How effective are we at using our different tools, skills, and techniques? And every team, every 2 weeks, reflects on its system, its local system of innovation. And they can immediately make changes to their local system of innovation, which whatever is in their power to decide, they decide and change their local system and optimize it right there. And this repeats every 2-week iteration. We are looking at our local system. How can we improve our part of what we are doing here? And this is the cross-functional group of people that are looking at how are we working together as a team and how can we improve our local system. But as in the same way as we did for the content side, we may also every 2 weeks need to feed back to higher levels of management, looking at certain aspects of our tools and techniques and infrastructure and whatever the case may be, to say, changing our innovation system, we are not as a team empowered to make this large change on our own. So we need to escalate to higher levels of management, looking at these specific areas of standard work and our capability in tools and skills to improve the innovation system. And as a team, we didn't have the decision-making power to improve this aspect, so therefore we escalated. And resource and time and focus is marshaled by often line management to improve our system of innovation over time. And this may involve many aspects of engineering practice, basically our fires in terms of military strategy and tactics. You know, how good are we at using technology and our skills and people and talking and whatever the case may be. Architecture code, how well did we use our engineering skills to build a platform which is easy to understand and easy to change and easy to analyze. Okay, so how good are we at architecting our platforms for production, distribution, and service? And also, how good are we at improving every aspect of military strategy and tactic applied to invading the future? How effective are we at unity of command? How effective are we at mass and economy of force, at gathering intelligence, at mission command, at force protection, at fires, offensive? Are we on the offensive as an organization? If not, why not? What else can we do to be on the offensive? Can we surprise our competition often enough? Okay, logistics, force protection. All of these things are aspects that the organization as a whole needs to focus on and then continuously improve so that you become better after every battle. And to achieve this, organizations need to realize that a minimum of 1% of headcount needs to be dedicated to continuous improvement. A minimum of 1%. And in the innovation space, it is probably more than 1%. And these folks are a mixture of line management, folks looking at content and how well that is flowing, various aspects involved in force protection, infrastructure, unity of command, whatever the case may be. The important thing is the organization must understand that not only is invading the current future important, it is as important to invest in being able to do the next invasion more efficiently than the current one. So what we've covered in this in terms of strategy and tactics is the better we are able to employ logistics, force protection, fires, maneuver, unity of command, offensive, surprise, etc., the better we are able to be fighting in the battles that are awaiting in our future. What about culture? Is innovation culture perhaps important? Absolutely, and we'll focus on that in the next lesson. Thank you.